Welcome to Fractured Chaos.
You know that feeling when you realize you've become the villain in your own story? That's where I am. Standing in my bathroom at 3 a.m., staring at my phone, I just whispered something I never thought I'd say out loud. I like porn more than I like my wife. There. That's the truth I've been hiding from everyone. Except now I've said it, and somehow the world didn't end. But my marriage might. Let me back up. My name is Philip Matthews, successful real estate developer, 15-year marriage to Diane, 2 kids in middle school. From the outside, we're what people call goals. But behind every perfect Instagram family photo is a man who spent 40 minutes in the guest bathroom with his phone before the picture was taken. It started innocently enough. Doesn't everything? A little escape here and there. A quick release when Diane had a headache or was out with friends. Nothing unusual, right? Every guy does it. But then something shifted. I started making excuses not to have sex with my actual wife. Too tired, early meeting, back pain. The truth? The pixels were more exciting than the person. What I didn't know then was that Diane had installed a screen time tracker on our family plan. She could see everything. Everything. Not the content, thankfully, but the hours, the patterns, the 2 a.m. sessions. The night she confronted me about it, she didn't yell. That would have been easier. Instead, she just handed me a printout of my screen time data, color-coded by day, with all my private browsing hours highlighted in red. That's when I discovered my wife isn't just a kindergarten teacher, she's a goddamn data analyst. Philip, you spent more time looking at strangers having sex last month than you spent talking to me. How do you come back from that? I promised to stop. I deleted apps. I even bought one of those phone lock boxes with a timer. 3 days later, I found myself Googling how to hack into a time-locked phone safe. That's when I realized I needed a bigger solution. So I did what any desperate man would do. I told my wife I was joining a men's spirituality retreat in the mountains for the weekend, and instead checked myself into a digital detox facility that specialized in porn addiction. What's that? Oh, yeah, they exist. $7,500 a weekend to have some 20-something therapist with hemp bracelets take your phone and make you do trust falls with other guys who were caught with their pants down, figuratively and literally. It was super effective for about a week. Then I discovered something unexpected on my work laptop. My assistant had accidentally saved her personal photos to our shared cloud drive. Nothing explicit, just vacation pictures. But there she was. Tina. Someone real. Someone I knew. Someone just down the hall from my office. I should have deleted them immediately. Instead, I found myself looking at them every day, then creating a secret folder, then waiting until the office cleared out so I could... Well, you get it. Things took a turn when I realized the cloud drive showed access logs. If Tina checked, she'd see I'd opened her vacation album 47 times in 3 days. In a panic, I deleted the entire shared drive, including 6 months of client contracts and property documents. The next morning, IT called an emergency all-hands meeting. Someone had corrupted the system. They were checking everyone's login history. I sat there sweating through my dress shirt while the tech guy explained how they could trace every keystroke on company devices. That night, I did something insane. I drove to the office at midnight, took my work laptop to the parking garage, and threw it off the top floor. 8 stories down to complete digital destruction. Problem solved, right? Wrong. So very wrong. Because I forgot about the security cameras. The next morning, my boss called me into his office and played the footage of me hurling company property into the night like some kind of deranged baseball pitcher. But here's the twist. He thought I was having a nervous breakdown because of work pressure. He gave me 2 weeks paid leave and the number of the company therapist. I should have been relieved. Instead, on day 2 of my mental health break, I found myself in an electronics store buying a new personal laptop that Diane didn't know about. I hid it in my golf bag. Started telling Diane I needed to practice my swing 3 times a week. I don't even like golf. I spent those afternoons in the parking lot of the country club, laptop balanced on my steering wheel, getting my fix. Then came the day I got an email from an unknown address. Just 1 line. I saw what you were watching in your car yesterday. My heart nearly exploded. I looked around the parking lot. Empty. Who sent this? The club security guard? Another member? For a week I was jumping at shadows, checking my rearview mirror, convinced I was being followed. The follow-up email arrived exactly 7 days later. Pay $5,000 to this account, or your wife gets screenshots. I paid immediately. What choice did I have? But instead of relief, I felt something unexpected. A thrill. The danger. The secrecy. It was adding a new layer to my addiction. The risk was becoming part of the high. That's when things got really dark. I started deliberately watching in public places. Coffee shop bathrooms. My car parked on busy streets. The thrill of almost getting caught became as important as the content itself. Then came the day I accidentally connected my phone to the living room smart TV while Diane was grocery shopping. I didn't realize our teenager had come home early from soccer practice. The sound of him dropping his sports bag is something I'll never forget. Dad? I've never closed a browser so fast in my life. We stood there, staring at each other, the blank TV screen between us like an unspoken accusation. That night, after the most awkward dinner of all time, I found a note slipped under my home office door. From my son. 3 words that changed everything. Get help, Dad. My 16-year-old was more mature than I was, and somehow coming from him, it hit differently than when it came from Diane. The next morning, I called a real therapist. Not a digital detox resort, not a quick fix. Someone who specializes in compulsive behaviors and addiction. I told Diane everything. The work laptop, the golf bag computer, the blackmail. I was prepared for divorce papers. Instead, she sat there quietly for a long time, then asked, "Do you want to save this marriage?" I did. I really did. Recovery isn't linear, as my therapist keeps reminding me. There have been slips, arguments, nights on the couch. But there's been honesty too. Real conversations about intimacy that we'd never had in 15 years of marriage. I had to find new hobbies, real ones, not fake golf. I started woodworking. Terrible at it, but it keeps my hands busy. Diane and I started dance lessons. Not gonna lie, watching your wife swing her hips in a salsa class does more for your libido than any website ever could. 6 months later, my screen time report shows more woodworking tutorials than porn. Progress, not perfection, right? Last week, I found myself alone in a hotel room on a business trip. Old habits whispered to me. I picked up my phone, hovered my finger over the browser icon, and then I called Diane instead. We talked for 2 hours about nothing important. It was the best conversation we'd had in years. Here's the thing about addiction. It promises everything and delivers nothing. Real life is messier, harder, doesn't come with a skip button or perfect camera angles. But it's actual connection. It's looking into someone's eyes and being seen, flaws and all. So that's my story. From secret folders to throwing laptops off parking garages to rebuilding my marriage one awkward conversation at a time. If you're listening to this and something resonates, if you've ever closed a browser window faster than humanly possible, maybe it's time to ask yourself the same question I finally had to answer. What are you really searching for? Because I guarantee it's not on any website. It's right in front of you, waiting for you to look up from your screen. My name is Philip Matthews. And today I can finally say, I like my wife more than I like porn. And that's a much better confession to make.